everyone. Welcome TikTok, welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. Hope you're all good. It is Tuesday, the 29th of July. August on Friday. We're getting there, aren't we? We are getting there. Yeah, it's Tuesday, the 29th of July. It's a bit dark and a bit dreary here in Lancashire today. And yeah, that's about it, really. We're all good. How are you? Hope you're all well. Hope you've all had a good evening. I was on last night. I was on until about 9 o'clock last night. So I will have seen some of you. But if I didn't see you, I hope you had a good Monday. How did your Monday go? Did you nail it? Did you, tick everything off that we want to tick off on a Monday? Hope you did. I had a really good day yesterday. I did my weekly weight loss vlog yesterday, and I feel I was a little bit harsh on myself, I think. And I, in a way, I don't mind, because sometimes it makes you pull your socks up a little bit. But in another way, you don't want to be too harsh on yourself, because then you're just kind of beating yourself up a little bit for no reason. And then that can have knock-on effects where it can affect your mental health, and you can feel a little bit down in the dumps and this, that, and the other. So, but I wasn't down in the dumps yesterday, because all in all, I actually had a decent week last week. It's just I didn't quite hit the high standards I set myself. And this week, I'm going to knock it out of the park. We have got something on this weekend. Which is fine, which is absolutely fine. I'm actually going to do a podcast on that this week. I need to write it down. Having a busy social weight loss with a busy social schedule, which again, I think this time of year, weight loss with a busy social schedule. So, yeah, and I think that is quite common this time of year. We are, in all honesty, kind of coming out of summer in a way, right? I know it might only feel like summer's just started because kids' summer holidays and stuff like that. But, when we get into I suppose we've got 2 months, haven't we? We've got August, September. But a lot of people do find, especially with kids' summer holidays, this is where their social schedules might ramp up a little bit. I've got, I January, February, March, I live like an absolute hermit. Even if people invite me to stuff, I'm like, I'm all right, Tom. And that might sound a little bit, unless it's a very close, it's a proper special occasion. I'm kind of like, I'm prioritizing my weight loss at the moment. And I'm not saying you can't live your life and lose weight. You can. But, sometimes I always say this, we need to make some compromises, not sacrifices. And for me, having a boring social life, January, February into March, is a compromise. I save money to pay for, obviously Christmas is quite expensive. So it's a time where I can get a bit of cash back in the bank. It's a time when I can focus on myself. My compromise is this time of year, I like to be a little bit more social. I like to I like to go out and do things. It's a time when we do want to go out and about, where the weather's a bit nicer and we can go and catch up. So I have got a few bits and pieces on at the moment. And that can get a little bit overwhelming at times. So I'm going to do a podcast about how I sort of handle it physically, so how I approach those things. And mentally, how do I get past it in here? Because this is where a lot of mental blocks, this is where a lot of this is where weight loss is won and lost, in here. Right? This is where weight loss is won and lost in our head. But yeah, so I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in the podcast. I'm going to try and record it this week and get it out this week. I'm trying to do a few podcasts at the moment. I do enjoy doing my podcast. Right, let's do it. I'm waffling on. Not like you, Neil. I know. Let's do top 5 this morning on TikTok. Let's see who's in. Faye's in at number 1. Callum's in at number 2. Kelly C's in at number 3. Jackie's in at number 4. And Sheila is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. Thank you as always, jumping straight to live, coming and saying hello. I hope you're all good. Debs, good morning. Who else is in this morning? Lynn, good morning to you too. Paul is in, good morning. I'm waiting to ask with my boy for X-Ray, busy morning. I hope is that like a recent accident, or is it just a catch-up, Kelly? Katie's in, good morning. Kate, I think you messaged me last night. I will be getting back to you today. Karen H, good morning. Audrey, good morning. James, good morning. Anyone else? No, I think I've done all the good mornings. Kevin on YouTube. I hate going out in winter. I usually hibernate. Yeah, that's me too. October, November, December is slightly different. I do like going out. I do love Christmas. Right? I'm a very Christmas person. I like being social over Christmas. November, I'm not bothered. And I mean that sincerely. Like October, November, I'm not bothered. It's when we get into December that I tend to find it a little bit harder, a little bit trickier. Because I am when the time suits me, I like to be social. When the time doesn't suit me, I don't want to be social. So, and this is where I do talk about there's better and worse times to lose weight. I talk about it all the time. And just because it's a worse time to lose weight doesn't mean we can't make progress, but maybe we can't quite make the same progress as when it's a better time to lose weight. And when it's a better time to lose weight, we need to make hay while the sun shines. I've done the majority of my weight loss this year, January, February, March. It doesn't mean I've not still chipped away over April, May, June into June. I've chipped away. I'm a little bit, I'm probably about 10 pounds lighter than maybe 7 pounds lighter than the end of March. So I've lost 7 pounds in the last 3 months or so, right? 2 to 3 pounds a month. But that's been counterbalanced by a couple of holidays, a bit more of a busier social life. Whereas January, February, March, I lost 2 stone in 3 months, right? But we have to accept that, sometimes there are better times, sometimes there are worse times. And I think we're too hard on ourselves at times. We really, really are. We panic too. We are, I could quite easily look back and go, God, my weight loss has really slowed down. It's, I was doing great January, February, March. My weight loss has really slowed down a little bit recently. What's going on? It's where people come on the lives here. Life's going on, right? I was absolutely super focused and absolutely on it and didn't have any distractions. I've got some distractions now, and I've probably lost, the scales tell me I'm 7, 8, maybe 9 pounds down from the end of January. That's not the fat I've lost. Since the end of March, sorry, I've probably lost 20 pounds of body fat in 3-4 months. Right? I generally have. I've still been I had 5 days to Fuengirola where I probably gained 4 or 5 pounds of body fat. I've just been to Benidorm where I've probably gained 5 or 6 pounds of body fat. So although the scales are showing I'm 7, 8 pounds down net, right? If I actually think of the body fat I've lost but I've also gained, that's the balance. So, if you gain 11 pounds over a period and you lose 18, 19 pounds over a period, the scales are going to show that you're 7 or 8 pounds down. So while I've been here and on it, nothing's really been different than January, February, March. Though January, February, March, I didn't have anything that counterbalanced the scales. I did go to Egypt all inclusive in March, right, for a week. But I'll be honest with you, I was probably eating in Egypt 4,000 calories a day on average. I wasn't really that. I was still hyper focused. It wasn't that much of a boozy holiday because the booze isn't that good in Egypt. There's a couple of beers in there and a glass of wine at night time, but nothing major. Again, being hyper focused, I wasn't on the Lay's crisps or the chocolate at night time or Egypt's version of that. Whereas I was in Benidorm, I did really let my hair down. So, there's always got to be a bit of a counterbalance. Went to bed last night, realised I was at 9,945 steps, got back up, walked around until I'd hit over 10K. Do you know what? I say to people, don't do that. Right, I do. I've done it myself in the past. I do say to, and why I say to, we don't need to get, this is why we always look to averages. So Kevin there has done 9,945 steps. He's 55 away. And I kind of get when you're 55 away, you're like, just walk to the kitchen and back, or just walk up and down your landing or something like that. You're going to knock 45 steps off, 55 steps off, or whatever it is. Right? But Kevin's done 9,945 yesterday, and he walked round to do 10K. If Kevin had done 9,945 yesterday, and he'd done 10,055 today, that's still 10,000 a day. It doesn't make, what I'm trying to say there is, and this is why we always work to averages, but I totally get why Kevin got out of bed. I've done it myself. I've done it myself when I'm close. If I was at 9,000 steps and I've got in bed and I'm 1,000 away, and 1,000 steps is about 9 to 10 minutes of walking, would I get out of bed and walk around the house for 10, 15 minutes? Like, no. To get up and do 55 steps, which will take you a minute, I get it. And I have done that myself. In fact, I did it maybe Saturday. Was it Saturday? Or was it? No, it wasn't Sunday, because I think it was Saturday evening. Saturday evening, I was actually at about 9,200. And I actually went outside. This was about 8:30 at night. I just went outside, and Rachel's been moaning at me for the weeds at the front of the house for ages. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and have a walk around and de-weed just to get some extra steps in. I actually ended up getting in about another 300 odd steps, but that was doing that then. But then, yeah, I have looked at my watch before and done 9,900 and something, and like, yeah, just mooch about and get those steps off. So I get it. I totally get it. What steps do you like to get to every day? So every day I like to get to 10,000, but it's not a set target, right? It's not a set target. My set target is 70,000 over a week, right? So I set myself a target of doing 10,000 steps a day on average, right? So all I want to see from my Apple Watch at the end of the week is I've averaged over 10,000 steps. Now, like I say, every day you've got to set yourselves little targets, little boundaries. So if I do 10K in a day, I'm happy, right? I'm happy. Yesterday I did over 14,000 steps, right? So, but again, it's averages, because there will be a day this week where I might only do 6,000 or 7,000 steps. There might not, but there can be. So, but yeah, I tend to set myself a target of 10,000 steps a day. And I've had that target probably since I really started looking at steps, which would have been around about 2016, 2017, when I got my first ever Apple Watch, was when I really started looking at steps. I didn't really use a step count before then. I had a cheap Fitbit, like the little band Fitbit, but I was a bit inconsistent at wearing it. And I didn't really put that much emphasis on steps. And what really ramped up my emphasis for steps was COVID. They were so, don't get me wrong, I've always known walking was important. It's always been part of my everyday life since I started my weight loss journey. It's always been something I've been conscious of, was getting up, moving about, but I never really looked at numbers that much. I always used to get up in the morning, do a 20-minute walk if I didn't go to the gym, and always do 20, 25 minutes on my lunch break at work. And I'd always go for a little walk at night time. Then in 2017, we got our first dog, Betty. So that obviously ramps up the accountability then for getting steps in. But it's when I got my Apple Watch was when I first really started to look at steps. And then COVID, when the gym shut down and I couldn't go and train in the gym, that is when, like, steps, it really became important. How it really became so apparent to me how important steps were, because when COVID happened and the gym shut down, I was in panic mode. I'm not going to lie to you. I was 6 years into my journey. I'd always had exercise as part of my journey, and I was trying to change my mindset that exercise wasn't the be all and end all. And I wasn't, but the main thing I was very concerned about with the gym shutdown was my mental health. I knew how good the gym was for this, and I didn't want I was like, if this goes wrong, it could be a leading on effect. And one thing you could do in COVID was walk, right? That was never taken away from us. And I know these sort of, you go out for a walk once a day and this, that, and the other. In this country, you could go out for a walk 3 times a day. It wasn't, abroad, they were very, very strict. A lot of police presence, a lot of things, if you're out spotted more than twice, you get arrested and stuff like that. I was like, what? Or you'd be on house arrest and stuff like that. There wasn't that. And I'm very lucky. I live in the country. I live in a little village. And I remember the first day of COVID, or when they announced, you go out for 1 walk a day. There was no time limit on that walk, from memory. You can just go out once a day for a walk. And I remember Bob's walked his collie. I live on a lane and it's a dog walker's haven where I live. I'm like, Bob's walked that collie 4 times today. So if he can do it, I can do it. Right. So yeah, me and Rach used to go out a couple of times a day for a walk. And again, you've got a dog. Dogs need to go out and this, that, and the other. But we used to walk for like I actually ended up doing quite a lot of training in my back garden in COVID, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, we used to go out for like 2 hours a day. We used to go hour in the morning, hour in the evening. And, it was a big benefit to my mental health. And it kind of made me realize steps never need to go anywhere. You can have a worldwide pandemic where we're basically are put on house arrest, put into isolation for this time. You can still go out and get your steps in. Whereas exercise can disappear. There's no boundaries for getting steps in other than you. We have to be honest with ourselves on that, right? We have to be honest with ourselves on that. And your boundaries could just be laziness, self motivation, could be disabilities, that could be, mental health, physical health. But the boundary for getting steps in it lies with us. Some of those boundaries we are not in control of. Some of those boundaries we are in control of. But there's no outside influence. There's not a thing where you go, I can't afford to get steps in. You could say, I can't afford to go to the gym at the moment, right? You can say, I haven't got time to go to the gym. The gym takes out, for me personally, the gym takes out about 2 hours of my day. Right? That's a big chunk of time. Now, I dedicate my time to that, and I'm more than, I'm more than willing to sacrifice that time because it's so important to me. But a lot of people either can't sacrifice that time or aren't willing to sacrifice that time. Time's not a boundary with steps. Yes, doing steps takes time, but in reality, everyone should have little pockets here and there to go and get their steps in. 10,000 steps in a day is 90 minutes throughout the entire day, right? And whatever's going on in your life, however many kids you've got, however many hours you work, right? We should be able to find little pockets of time to get, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there because of how good it is. 2 hours, do you work full time? Yeah, I work full time. I'm here all the time. But I'm in this office at 6:30 in the morning, right? And I work till about 10 o'clock, 10:30. When I say the gym takes out 2 hours of my time, I'm talking it's a 15-20 minute drive there. It's a 15-20 minute drive back, and I'm in there for an hour. So it's about an hour and 40 minutes or something like that out of my day, right? And yeah, I do work full time, but I work for myself. I'm in this office at 6:30 in the morning when a lot of people are still in bed. But I get in this office at 6:30 in the morning and do 6:30 till about 10:30. That's my day. That's my morning done, right? And then I can take a couple of hours out to go to the gym, get my lunch, right? And then I'm still sat in this office at 10 o'clock at night time a few days a week. But I don't mind starting work at 6:30 in the morning. And I also don't mind being sat in this office at 9, 10 o'clock at night time if it gives me that time during the day to get to the gym, which is so important to me. I do about 50 hours a week of work, and you guys will know that if you're a regular follower of mine. I don't just come on and do these lives and that's my job done. Absolutely, I wish it was. I mean, last night I was in this office yesterday morning at 7 a.m. yesterday morning. I was actually still sat in this office at 9:20 last night. I did a live 8 till 9. Then I did 20 minutes of work. I was in here half an hour before the live doing work. So yeah, absolutely I do. But that's because it's, that's why it's so important. But it's important to me. So I make those. That's my thing. Some people it's more important to watch Netflix than go to the gym. It's not. The gym's more important than watching TV to me. So that's my. Some people will be like, well, I want to watch TV at night time. I don't. I'm happy to sit in here and work because I've had my two. I tend to not work. I tend to not work about 10:30 till 2:30. But it doesn't matter when you do your 8 or 10 hours in a day. Well, it doesn't to me because I work for myself, So, I'd rather take a chunk out in the middle of the day, go to the gym, have my lunch, walk the dogs. I like going to the gym when it's a bit quieter, right? So that's why I go around dinner time. I like to have my lunch. I like to walk my dogs. So, I sort of work 3 times in a day. I sort of come in the morning for about 3-4 hours. And then I'll sort of do about 2:30 till about 5:30 for about 3 hours or so. And then I'll normally, nip back in here about 7:30 and do about 7:30 till 9:30. So I sort of do 4, 3, 2, 9. And I'll do that 5-6 days a week. I tend to work Saturday. I tend to do a few hours on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon as well. Morning, hope you're well, boss Martin. I'm very good. Thank you very much. Just because I dedicate that time to going to the gym doesn't mean you need to, right? That's just what's important to me. I think everyone should exercise, but steps, like say at the end of the day, I said this yesterday about people that commute to work and back. You know, if you work from home now, what do you do with that time that you used to commute? Do you put it to good use, or do you put it to, no, I just have an extra 20 minutes in bed, or an extra half hour in bed, or I just, what did you used to do? If you now get your shopping delivered, going to the supermarket is about an hour and a half for me, right? If I was going to go and do a big shop, Tesco, I live in a village, so everything's a 15, 20-minute drive. But Tesco's is 15-minute drive away, right? And if I go and do a big shop, you're normally in there for about an hour, right? It's 15 minutes back, it's an hour and a half. So if you now, instead of going to the supermarket once a week and doing a big shop, you get your shopping delivered, that saves you an hour and a half in the week that you used to have to do because we didn't get shopping. So what do you do with that extra hour and a half that you've given yourself back by getting the Tesco man to do your shopping rather than you doing it? Do you put that extra hour and a half to good use? And it's not like, and why you've got that hour and a half back from getting your shopping delivered is because 15 years ago, most of us had to go to a supermarket. You had to do it. It wasn't a luxury to go to. It was a necessity. Now we have a luxury where we can actually get our shopping delivered. So if you're using that for time purposes, what are you doing with that extra hour and a half you've got back that you didn't have 15 years? These are the things we need to look into. Just 10 minutes hourly breaks the back of 10,000k. Go easily, and it is about, with steps, it is about finding these pockets of time. Like some people don't. If you work a sedentary day job, like Rachel's gone back into working in an office. Now, she's always done a sedentary day job when she used to work for our company, but she had a bit more, similar to me, a bit more flexible freedom because she worked her own hours. Now she basically does a 9 to 5, but every dinner time, 4 of them go out for a 45-minute walk. They get an hour every lunchtime. Their working hours is 9 till 12, right? 1 till 5. So they work 7-hour days with an hour break in between, right? That is their office hours. And there's literally like 3 or 4 of them. So where they're based in Preston, they've got the Guild Wheel, which runs behind their office. So, or they'll walk to Asda's 20 minutes to Asda from where they work and 20 minutes back. So every day they have this little walking group where sometimes there's 2 or 3 of them. And Rachel, every day, even though she has a sedentary day job, like she'll always come on and go, yeah, I've done 8,000 steps today, because they go out for a specific walk, and that, and then pottering around the office and doing other bits and pieces. She's nothing's changed, but that's because there's a group of them that utilise that time. And now there's 25 of them in Rachel's office. There's only 4 or 5 of them that go for a walk. Sometimes there's only 2 of them go for a walk. And I'm like, what do the other 20 do? She's like, oh, they just get in the car and go off somewhere. They might go a bit further afield or this and that. So I said, those were the people that say they can't get their steps in, Right, let me and again, this is why we work to averages. Look, I work in a special ed school, get in at 8 and don't leave till 6. Again, that's, sometimes we have to work long shifts, but that's why we work to averages. And, even with a special ed school, you'll get breaks. I used to have a PT client that used to work for Pear Tree, right? They were exactly the same. It was working with like, like autistic children and stuff like that. And they used to, and they actually ended up getting some of the kids out for walks and stuff like that to help them, but also to help the children as well, get movement in. They just used to move around. We can always come up with boundaries. People work hard, right? And what we're trying to say, and what we'd say there, I'm a weight loss coach, so I assume a lot of people that tune into my lives are here for weight loss. And a lot of people come up with boundaries. Like, I do a lot of hours, so I can't do that. So we're basically saying everyone that works 8 till, and I'm not saying this is the same for Claire. Claire might be like, no, I'll get my steps in. I'm quite happy with my weight at the moment. I'm doing all right. Right. But, a lot of people come up with boundaries. And basically what you're trying to say is you're not the only person that does that job. You are not the only person that does those hours. You are not the only person that's in this situation. And what you're basically trying to say is every single person that does my hours get can't get steps in. Well, no, they probably can, because it's how you prioritize. I'm not trying to have a go at people here, but we have to, I've done this job for a long time, and, I've come up with I come up with a lot of boundaries, and I break those boundaries down for people. I don't give them anywhere to go with them, because we'll always try and create what we would call a relative excuse or a reasonable excuse. And for a lot of people, our reasonable excuses, I used to get clients that come to me and go, well, I work 12-hour shifts. Okay, well, you don't work 12-hour shifts 5 days a week. Now, you might do if you work for yourself, but you don't do that if you're employed. Oh, well, no, I don't. I work 3 on, 4 off. Right, so you do a full week's work in 3 days, 36 hours, 12 hours on, right? And they're like, yeah, right? So that's why we work to averages, right? So you might, your movement, if you want to do 10,000 steps on average, that's 70,000 steps over the week. And those 3 days on, while you're on shift, and that shift might be sedentary, you might do 5,000 steps a day, which is 15,000 steps, right? But you've then got 4 days now where you're off, right? You've then got 4 days now where you're off, and you've got 4 days to do 55,000 steps, right? And as you're off, do 15,000 steps a day, because you're off. It's your time off, right? And, if you do 15,000 steps a day on your days off, and you do 5,000 steps, you'll do 75,000 steps over a week. That means you're averaging well over 10,000 steps. Great, So, have we all got the same 24 hours in a day? Have we all got the same time each week? No. But we can all, shuffle our diaries around, and you've just got to make things work for you. And this is what I used to, and this is the reality check I used to say. People say, so, well, I can't, I struggle because I work full time. So you're trying to say every single person that works full time has a weight issue? Well, no, not everyone that works full time has a weight, right? So, loads of people do loads of hours a week. We have to nowadays to pay the bills, right? So, what's the difference between you working full time and someone else working full time? Well, I've got, so there's loads of people that work full time that have got 2 children as well, that do loads of hours and have got 2 children. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not trying to say it's easy. So you're saying that everyone that works full time that has children now has a weight issue, that can't get the movement in, can't control the calorie. Well, no, not everyone that's full. Exactly. So why do these people? And again, it's not luck. There's no one's lucky to be thin. No one's lucky to be thin. It's not a luck thing. It's not a, we always use it, and I did it myself for years. Such and such has got a fast metabolism. Such and such has got, a fast doesn't no one has a fast metabolism, right? People, well, tell you what people have fast metabolisms, people that are overweight. People that are overweight have faster metabolisms than people that are. So when you see your mate, they can eat whatever they want. They don't gain weight. No, they eat within a calorie maintenance. They might burn a lot of calories, which gives them the ability to eat a lot of calories, but they eat within a calorie maintenance. There's no luck involved in being thin or there's no luck involved. You're not unlucky because you're fat, and you're not lucky because you're thin, right? Now, don't get me wrong, certain people can subconsciously control their calories. And I'm very envious of people like that. I don't have that. But that person that is envious, that is able to subconsciously control their calories, which I'm envious of, they might be envious of me because I'm self-motivated nowadays to go get movement in, whereas they might not be. We've always got our pluses and our minuses, haven't we? There's always something we can look at where, I wish I could be like that. But, in a way. So it is. And like I say, I'm not trying to say it's easy. It really, really isn't, right? It isn't easy. But being successful in anything, and especially something we struggle with, is about, it shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be easy. I walk around the yard on their breaks. Perfect. That's perfect. That's what we should be doing, right? And it's if the kids are on their break and you can then utilize some time to go and get set, that's it. That's exactly what we have to be doing, and that is what we call finding pockets of time to support our journey. So we don't get breaks. You must get breaks, otherwise that's against the law. Like, and I know what you're trying to say. You will get something somewhere, right? Even if it's 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know not every employer follows the rules of the law, but and again, unfortunately, sometimes we have to kick back a little bit. If you're struggling with your weight loss journey, you're always going to be number one, right? If you're struggling with your weight loss journey and you work for an employer and you generally, and yes, we do work in situations where, we work in A&E and life can just take over a little bit. But, sometimes we've got to kick back a little bit is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes, and it's commendable. If you're happy to go to work and do a 10-hour shift and not take any breaks, but that, if that's not benefiting you as a person, then you need to kick back a little bit, and rightly so. I don't mean be a prat of an employer, right? But we do need to kick back a little bit. This is where people, right, I'll watch now while you go and have a little break, go and have your lunch, go and have this, that, and the other. So, look, there is, like I say, and like I say, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm really not. But if you're, employers will get, whether it's working for the council, whether it's working with children with issues, whether it's working with adults with issues, whether it's working in a hospital, employers will always try, whoever your employer is, will always try and take you for granted, right? And we need to kick back a little bit, but sometimes we don't kick back because we like that excuse. We like that, I work 10 hours a day, I don't get a break, so I can't get my steps in. If you actually got breaks, then you wouldn't have the excuse to be able to go and get the steps in or be able to go and, make a better choice for your lunch. Like I say, and again, if you're not willing to just shut up a little bit, then, I always say this about, we can't then whinge about having a weight issue, or we can't then whinge about not getting things in that we want to get in, right? We've just got to a little bit, So, there we go. And it is just a case of, unfortunately, if people don't speak up, things won't change a little bit, And again, I know it's not ideal and there's funding and there isn't the cost and this, that, and the other. And obviously, people can't have breaks working for a special ed school because, you can't just go, yeah, you're just going to be all right now for 10, 15 minutes. But there should be things in place. Like I say, I've worked in care. I've not worked for a special ed school, obviously, but I've worked in care, and it's like when you're on, during the day, you can't leave residents I've worked in dementia care, can't leave residents on their own, right? And so, yeah, I know, but that's why we have different, right? You're now going to watch while you go and have your 10 minutes. You come back and have your 10 minutes, and then we'll go and have our 10. And it's just, the way things need to be done. And if places are understaffed, places are understaffed. Again, I'm not trying to say it's easy. I'm not trying to say it's easy. And I know, you can't make a massive world of difference trying to stand up for yourself a little bit or trying to kick back a little bit. But, everyone's got to have a lunch break. Like, that's just, you just work, everyone's got to have a lunch break. So and saying that people don't get, so what, if you work in a special ed school for 10 hours, you get nothing, you don't get to eat, you don't get to have a drink, you don't get anything for 10 hours. Like I say, I used to PT some of the work, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy, but that's like, that's slavery, isn't it? Like, what, I know you get paid for it, but I'm like, what? So you don't even get to have a dinner. Yeah, we eat with the kids. Okay, all right, okay, all right. So maybe there are some circumstances where it's a little bit, where it's a little bit trickier. But again, as you said there, Claire, you walk around the schoolyard, you walk around while they're out, you've adapted, and that's great, and that's what we've got to do. That's great. That's what you've got to do. You've just got to find your little pockets of time. If they're out playing, having a good time, that's when you can get your steps in. So you've just got to adapt a little bit. Anyway, I didn't mean to go. It's not a debate, is it? It's just I like learning about different circumstances. And like I say, people always try and kick back, and people always try and defend. It is what it is, and it's absolutely fine. And I never want people to think I'm sitting here. People know I'm not sitting here on a throne saying we've got to do this, that, and the other. But all I'm trying to say is we've got to find those pockets of time, right? And we can do. And you've already said you can do, so that's good. You've just got to find those little pockets of time. We have Laura's one of my clients, so she works in a special ed school. So we have a dinner break, 30 minutes, can have we, etc., but no other breaks. So again, what's the difference between Laura's school, where she gets a 30-minute dinner break, and then the other schools that don't get a 30-minute dinner break? What is the difference? And this is just a genuine question. Is one just the way they do things, one with the way other people do things? It's hard, isn't it? It is tough. And then why can't all go through that? But it is, and then a case, if you don't get a break, if you don't get a break, I assume children, whether they've got any physical or mental disabilities in any way whatsoever, surely they're encouraged to exercise and move more, which means you can exercise. We actually have, again, Pear Tree that I was talking about before, the client I used to work with, Ribby Hall, actually offers a scheme for their school. And, carers come in with their one-to-ones and training Ribby for an hour, right? And there's one lad that comes in. He's such a nice lad. And he comes in. I actually thought he came in with his brother. I thought it was his brother that he used to come in with all the time because they had such a nice bond. And it wasn't. And I ended up, and he was his one-to-one. And they come from Pet, and they have a special deal where Ribby probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't charge them or charge them a very small amount. And again, little things like that. Can you go swimming with them? Can you take children swimming? Can you take them to a gym and train? Can you, again, just encourage them in the school? So there's always ways. Whatever boundaries we face, there's always ways we can work past it. I work special ed, got 30 minutes lunch break, got my 10,000 steps easily every day. There we go. And again, I'm not saying it's easy. And it's all different strokes, I suppose, for different. My son is in a SEN school. His one-to-one has breaks because they alternate breaks. That's what I was trying to say. Surely, while someone goes off and has a little break for half an hour or 15 minutes, then someone else can just step in for that time. That's all I was trying to say. But obviously, it's just different schools have different. I suppose it's down to different funding boards, the way different run things. But there is obviously, a few people here, that obviously work for certain schools where you do get breaks. So it's not, it just is what it is. But anyway, to get back to the original thing, I think we spent way too many times on steps. You can get them in. Time is not a boundary, right, for anyone, because, time isn't a boundary. Money's not a boundary for steps. The only boundary is with ourselves, right? Whereas other forms of activity, there are outside boundaries that we might not be in control of. Like, say, like money, like time. Yeah. A lot of people use work as an excuse not to walk. They do. I used to do it myself. I used to use all sorts of excuses not to move more, right? And we have to be honest with ourselves with that. We have to be honest with ourselves with that. And like I say, we can either try and find solutions to problems, or we can find problems for solutions. And it's one of my sayings that I used to say all the time. And, I was always lived the life where I always used to try and create problems for solutions. Now I live my life where I try and create solutions to problems. And depending on how your mindset works will depend on, a big part of how successful you're going to be on your journey. Jaime, would it be beneficial for me to do a 12, 14-hour fast one day? No. In terms of what? Like every Wednesday? Beneficial in what terms, Dan? Do you not fast every day for 12 hours anyway, Dan? Like, what's the last time you eat at night time? When's the first time you eat in the morning? So my last thing I ate last night was at 9:30. I ate at 9:30 last night. I had a protein bar and some cherries. I wasn't going to actually, but I did. I ended up having a protein bar and some cherries. Right? The first thing I'm going to eat this morning is after I finish this live at 9:30. I've got a yogurt bowl. I've prepped it. It's sat in the kitchen. It's ready to go. I can't wait to scratch it. I actually feel a bit hungry this morning. Which is probably going to be just after 9:30 when I finish this live. So I fasted for 12 hours yesterday. What are the benefits of fasting for me for 12 hours? Have I done it on purpose? No, that's just the difference between what I ate last night, the last thing I ate last night, and the first thing I'm going to eat this morning. Right? So that's has that fast done anything for? No. You know, a lot of people go, well, it detoxes the body when you don't eat anything. Now, I've got liver and kidneys, that detoxes the body whether I'm eating or not. So fasting doesn't detox the body, you know, that's fine. You know, it might reduce your food weight in your body because you're still going to go to the toilet and do number twos, right? But you're not eating anything. But again, that actually isn't beneficial because then you're not taking macronutrients or micronutrients into your body that is beneficial for health. So that is so fasting, not eating, is detrimental in that way. Would it reduce your caloric, not eating for 12 hours? Well, yeah, but again, 7 or 8 of that, I'm asleep. So it's kind of like there's no benefits, there's no health benefits to fasting. Some people do claim that it helps with autophagy, which is the rebuilding of cells, but the science backs up that autophagy is actually at its peak when the body's fueled correctly. So again, that eliminates that. It doesn't detox the body because, like I say, we've got liver and kidneys. That detoxes the body anyway, whether you're eating or not. So it doesn't do that. Would a 12 to 14 hour fast reduce? Yeah, but most people fast at least 10 hours a day anyway. So having an extra 2 hours on top, maybe not. If you did, a 16-hour fast where you're pushing it a bit longer than what Dan said there, that would then definitely mean that you're going to miss out on a main meal, right? Generally, if we do a fast, we're going to miss out on a main meal. That would definitely reduce your caloric intake. But yeah, fasting on a 12 to 14 hours, I don't see the benefit. And even if you did decide to not eat breakfast in the morning, yes, it reduces. I wouldn't even call it fasting. It's just I've just not had breakfast. Does that make sense? Right. Let me scan down, see if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. I know we've waffled on about steps a lot. I drive 5 a.m. till 8 o'clock. Don't get steps in, but still manage to lose fat. Yeah, John, I know John's got a very, a long day job sat down. And again, yeah, you're right. If it's one of those where you accept, I can't get my steps in, you still lose body fat. You just need to be in a calorie deficit. That's it. What have I got on today? So I've got today. I've got a bit of a bitty day today, if I'm being honest with you. I've got a lot of bits and pieces to do. So I'm having my breakfast after this, and then I've got a weight loss coaching live. If you are part of my community or my one-to-one plan, in that we do 2 weight loss coaching lives one week, one the following week. Summer holidays, I just tend to chill it down to 1 a week. And what I've done is I've replaced the weight loss coaching live that we normally do every other Thursday with a social media live every Thursday. That social media live might be an hour, it might just be half an hour, but I will be doing, I don't know what I'm doing this week actually, with the social media live. I don't know if I'm taking, Rachel, I think, has got COVID. She's not quite sure. We don't test anymore, do we really? I mean, you might be if you're in the NHS or something like that. But she feels a little bit like she went out Friday night, got rather drunk. I've told her it's just I've told her like she's mid-30s now. This is where your 5-day hangovers kick in. She's convinced herself she's got COVID. Anyway, she did mention in work yesterday I might have got, but again, protocols at work are like, it's up to you. If you don't feel good, work from home. If you still want to come in. But 2 of her, the lady that works above Rachel and another girl that works alongside Rachel, they're actually off from today until a week on Monday for some holidays. They've both got a week and a half off, so she's like, I need to go in today to do like a what they call handover and this, that, and the other. So Rachel has got into it. She's not too good at the moment. Why was I talking about Rachel being ill? I can't remember. Anyway, live. So I don't know if she's going to be work Thursday. I've sort of said if you feel like this tomorrow and you don't need to be in, either just take some time, take a day off or 2, or work from home. So what I was going to say there is, sometimes I take Rachel to work on a Thursday, and then I'll pick her up afterwards and I'll do a live in the car. Whatever happens on Thursday, I will be doing a live. I don't quite know what the time is. I'll either do one here in the office or I'll be out and about. Anyway, what have we got on today? So we've got Weight Loss Coaching Live at 10, 11 o'clock. If you want to come and watch the Weight Loss Coaching Live, we are talking about fight or flight, right? Actually follows on quite well from that step conversation we had where, we are tested a lot of the time on a weight loss journey with the fight or flight response, right? And a lot of us choose flight. And this is where, and that's kind of like that saying I said there. If you create problems for solutions, you are choosing flight, right? If you accept solutions to problems, you're choosing fight. It might not be easy, but it's all about mentality. And a weight loss journey is all about mentality. But anyway, we're going to talk about the fight and flight response in the Weight Loss Coaching Live this morning. That's 10 to 11. If you want to come and watch that live, you simply need to be part of the community or join the one-to-one. Is that a Zoom, Neil? Is that a Zoom, Neil, the 10 a.m.? It is. I will send the links out to everyone. I'll put it in the WhatsApp. As soon as this live finishes, I'll put it in the WhatsApp community announcements section with the links for today's live, for today's Zoom and tomorrow's Zoom. And then just before 10 o'clock, when I jump on the live, what will I do? I'll send the direct link out broadcast. All right, so you can come and get involved in it and get on board with that. So that's today's live, and then I've got I need to start this week's Worth the Calories video. So we're going to be doing some YouTube content today. What am I doing in this week's Worth the Calories? I've got a few different pieces today. I'm going to try the prawn kebabs that I got from Aldi last week. I got a new ready meal that's going in. Got a new snack from Aldi that's going to be in this week. I've got 4 things written down. I know I've got 4 things written down. There must be something else that I'm trying that I can't remember. Anyway, we're starting that today. And then this afternoon's a bit of an admin day, really. I've got a bit of admin, a few bits and pieces to do. Just general admin. And then it's spin tonight, teaching spin at 5 o'clock, 5:15. So I tend to go to the gym. The gym today is 2.5 hours. So I'll leave the house at 4 today. I'm going to get to the gym for about 4:15. I'll go in and set my spin class up. That takes 5 minutes or so. Then I'm going to go train in the gym for half an hour, 40 minutes. Then I'm going to go down and then I'm going to do 45 minutes of spin. That's technically spin is kind of work because I do get paid for it. And then I'll be home so I'll leave the house at 4 and I'll be home for about 6:15. So it's 2 hours out of the day. And then this evening, I'll be back in here for about 7 till about 8:30. And then, I don't know what we'll do. Probably take if we've not took the dogs before then, no live tonight. I've just been doing it again, probably doing a little bit of work. So do you know what I did yesterday, which I need to do more often, because just to break it, I actually worked for an hour on my laptop in the lounge rather than being there. And I did that because I've got 3 dogs at the moment to look after. I've got 2 very, very, they do look very, very cute. I can't show you on Facebook or YouTube, but I'll flip the camera. So we've got Blossom there, who's absolutely hard on. She has been snoring. She's got a little toy pile there, but she's just got hard on snoring. And then we've got Wilma down here, who, again, is just absolutely hard on, curled up on the world's biggest bed for a cockapoo. So, yeah, I've got 2 cockapoos. One is mine. I've not nicked him. One's mine. One with dog sitting. Betty's in the lounge being Miss Antisocial, as she always is. And then Chicken Poppers protein snacks from Aldi. Oh, that's what I'm reviewing. Cheers, Claire. Thanks for telling me that. Chicken Poppers protein snacks from Aldi. I've not had them yet. I've had them in the fridge for about 2 weeks. They're probably off. They might be off. I might not be able to eat them. I don't think they go off. I've had them in the fridge maybe for longer than that, and maybe a month. I'm hopefully going to review them because I'm not trying to get the garlic ones and the cheese and bacon, is it, or something like that, or maybe chicken and bacon. I can't remember. Anyway, yes, we will be on them. Charles Journey, good morning. I'm in a wheelchair, went out, so can only get them in at home, holding onto a chair. Yeah, but you get your steps have been brilliant, Kelly. And again, you have got some disabilities. You do struggle with your walking, but you've got a walking pad, or you just walk, at home, and you get those steps in again. You faced your boundaries, and you get at it. So so I did a bit of work because it was easier in the lounge with keeping an eye on all 3 of the doggies. Betty won't come in here, or she does come in here. She won't settle down like these 2 will. Anyway, so I might do a little bit of work in the lounge this afternoon again. Quite enjoyed it yesterday. I had the telly on, chilling out a little bit. Again, there are some joys. There are some joys for being self-employed. There are also a lot of, I do mean, I say that to Rachel, like she got paid on Monday, she gets paid the 28th of every month. She got paid on Monday. And I was like, I do miss just going to work, coming home from work, switching off, and just getting paid at the end of the month. I do miss that. That is definitely a plus point of being employed. I do miss paid holidays. Right? Again, we were in Benidorm, and I'm like, you're just getting paid X amount a day for sitting on the sun lounger. And don't get me wrong, the way I have my business set up, I don't miss. That was the hard thing about personal training. Because when you were working one-to-one with people, if you didn't work for a week, you didn't earn any money. Now, I was the way I set my personal training up was, it never really, having a week off, never really affected my income in a way, because I used to charge people blocks. So people used to pay 360 quid for 12 sessions, right? And they used to pay in lump sums. So, and it wasn't like they paid as they go. So it was like, for 1 week, I'm not working, I don't get any money in. They'd always pay but it basically put me a week behind. So people always used to have a minimum 2 sessions a week. So basically one block lasted 6 weeks. So a client every 6 weeks would pay me £360. But when I had a holiday in there, it would then be pushed back to 7 weeks before I got my next. So, but you didn't really feel it too much. But I do miss paid holidays. Don't even think about dumping those. I'm not. I would never. Rachel always says this. Rachel's like, you couldn't go back to being employed. And I genuinely couldn't. I couldn't go back to being employed. I have been offered a couple of roles, like over the last 12 months or so. Part-time sort of positions, going like doing bits of work for different people. But it would be on a PAYE basis. And I don't like being tied down. I just couldn't. I was very lucky with the job I did before this. I ran the company, so again, I have my own flexibility. But yeah, I couldn't be employed. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I love my job. I love what I do. I love doing the coaching side. I do. I absolutely love it. I love doing my lives. So yeah, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going. Not for the. I mean, don't be wrong. There will be a point in time where I will be retiring. Me and Rachel were talking about this actually the other day. She was like, where do you think, like we were talking about retirement age and this, that, and the other. And she was like, what age would you like to retire? And I said, ideally, I'd love to retire at 60. That would be my idea. If I could retire at 60. But she said, you'll never retire. And she's probably right. I would get bored. Would I chill things out a little bit where I'm not doing as many hours? Yeah, of course. I'm probably going to plan on doing that by the time I get to 50, if I can. It all depends on income and how things are going. But yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to see Superman in the cinema this afternoon, followed by a rice bowl in KFC. Sounds amazing. We've not been to the cinema for ages, me and Rachel. We keep talking about it. I just think I know they bring out all the summer blockbusters. I'm like, why don't they bring out the blockbusters in January when the weather's rubbish and everyone wants to go to the cinema? They always do these summer blockbusters, don't they? I really want to see Superman. I really want to see Fantastic Four. There was another film as well that's come out recently that I really want to go and see. We've not been to the cinema for ages. I do love a good cinema trip. You can't beat it. You really, really can't. Right, guys, 5-minute warning, and I am going very, very shortly. Very, very shortly. I'm dreaming of my yogurt bowl. It's sat there. Strawberries, raspberries, raspberry white chalk, a spoonful of stevia, 150 grams of Greek yogurt, 10 grams of chia seeds. That's the base. I now need to decide what I'm going to top it with. Fancy the F1 film. Katie, that was the other one. That was the one I really wanted to watch. I wanted to go to IMAX to watch that because it's meant to be filmed amazing. But yeah, I feel like we've missed the boat a little bit. Oh, this is something I wanted to ask, right? This might be a totally random question. Anyone on a live, or if you're watching this back, Facebook, YouTube, right, and you are from Blackburn, right, or that area, somewhere good to go to eat on a Saturday about 2:00, right, in the Blackburn area. Why I say this, a week on Saturday, we're going to Blackburn. Rachel's having some sort of, I have no idea what it is. It's some sort of facial treatment. The girl she goes to get her eyebrows done. Rachel's like, she's umming and ahhing about having Botox and this. You might be surprised. I've never had Botox in my life. Yeah, it's, I'm not about to start now. Anyway, right, I don't know. Rachel, anyway, she's going to this lady, and basically, it's like having Botox, but you don't actually have any Botox. It's like a treatment that tightens your skin. I think it's a load of nonsense. But anyway, this girl says she's really good. Anyway, it's in Blackburn, to cut a long story short. We're going to Blackburn. So it's a Saturday. So her appointment is at 12 o'clock. I think she's an hour and a half. So 12 till 1:30. I might even jump on and do a live while I'm there. Right, so maybe a week on Saturday, I might do a live 12 till 1:30. So United are on at 1:45, so I might do a live for half an hour and then sit and watch the football in the car. But then afterwards, I said, well, while we're over that way, why don't we go and have... So I don't even mind going up to like Clitheroe or out into the sticks a little bit, but anywhere that way that's really good for food if you're from that area. If you're from that area, anywhere that's got a nice pub somewhere, or I'd love to go for a curry. Obviously, Blackburn, you got like the A59, but I don't know if there's any like curry, like Indian restaurants that are open through the day. Let me know. I need to know if anyone's from the Blackburn. I'm going to put it on my Instagram. Actually, I did enjoy the new Superfan film. I was disappointed. Yeah, I know. I think some people have been a bit hit and miss with it. I think they've gone down a bit of a different route. They rejig it that often, don't they? It's always a different Superman every few years. It's flipping. Obviously, like modern day, they had the guy. What's he called? The Witcher guy. I can't remember his name. And then Ben Affleck did it, which was a bit weird. And then. Then they've got this new guy doing it now. I do fancy the Fantastic Four. I love Marvel. We'll be seeing Fantastic Four 2, taking my nephew while he's home from Preston. Amazing fate. Really, really good. Right, no one's recommended any Blackburn restaurants. People are like, no one eats it. I don't know. I know, is there anything you would recommend for brain fog and fatigue? Is this something, Lou, that you just get every now and then? Last bit for me today. Is this something you get every now and then? Or is it like for weeks and weeks and weeks? Brain fog, generally, it's a tricky one because it can be a bit subjective. It can be like what some people suffer with it for, some other people suffer with it more. Other people suffer with it more. Brain fog is very, very common if you aren't fueling your brain correctly. And how we fuel our brain correctly is carbohydrates and healthy fats. So, it's very, very common people that do the ketogenic diet, things like that suffer with brain fog. That can be quite common. Fatigue is different than being overtired. Fatigue is kind of hand in hand. Everyone should be tired at night time. But if you're like now, it's 9:30 in the morning. You've had at least 6-7 hours sleep last night. Right, if you're sat there now and you're just feeling drained, I was like this last week. I was just absolutely knackered last week. I just didn't feel like I had any energy. For me, that's a very rare occurrence. This week, I feel back in the game. But, Lou, you've got to look at overall diet. Are you getting lots of vitamins, minerals, nutrients into your body? Right? Are you getting good carbs and some healthy fats into your diet? What's your movement like? I think your movement's good. I know it is because you're on plan with me. I don't think your movement's a major issue at all. So that's not a thing. We can then look at some supplements. So magnesium's quite good for brain fog. Lion's Mane is amazing. Lion's Mane is a great supplement for focus that improves focus. Energy, vitamin B12, vitamin D3 and K2. Right, so if your overall diet's good, right, is decent, you're getting some good fruits and veggies in there. You're getting, stuff that's going to fuel your body correctly. You've got a decent level of movement, decent level of hydration, right? I would then look at Lion's Mane, vitamin B12, and vitamin D3 and K2. You need them both together for them to be active for you to work. Supplement those things. It'll take about a week for him. It's every now and then. Some days I'm completely fine, and other days it's a struggle. When it's every now and then, sometimes we do have to accept that certain days we're just more tired than others. And it could just be, I was a bit rubbish with drinking my water yesterday, not had a great night's sleep. That can happen. I'm back to normal this week. I'm buzzing. I'm full of energy. I'm all good. Could I end up on Thursday just feeling a bit overtired? Yeah. Last week, I felt overtired Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day. I'd lost my pep in my step. And that was just, and there was a few, and I felt like weight loss was a bit of a struggle. Now, if I felt the same this week, I'd be like, something's going on here. And if I certainly felt the same next week, I'd be like, something's definitely going on here, right? If it's the odd day, I probably have at least one day a week where I'm just not quite as buzzing as I normally am. And that tends to be towards the end of the week because it's the end of the week. You've worked hard, you gave it up for the weekend, your body can go into a bit of go slow mode. But, maybe look at those things, Lou, just to see if it cuts out those odd days, Lion's Mane, D3K2, and what's the third? B12. B12 supplements, vitamin B12. A lot of us are very deficient in B12. Body can struggle to absorb it at times to hold on to it. What helps, man? I always know when I haven't drank enough. Yeah, dehydration's a big one. Dehydration leads to fatigue. A very common one. Right. Peeps. I'm out of here. I am out of here. I am done for this morning for social media. I'm done for today for social media lives. In fact, I'm done till Thursday. Right? So no more social, I was last week, the Zoom should have been at night time. I was going to do it tomorrow at night time, but it's my mum's birthday this week. So I'm she's coming around for tea. And I'm very, very sorry. My mum is more important than you guys. You guys are extremely important to me, but mum has to come first. So it was a birthday yesterday. I took her out for afternoon tea on Saturday, and then she's coming around for a tea tomorrow night. So although we didn't do the nighttime live, and I know a lot of people prefer the evening lives because they find it easier to get on them during the day, tomorrow's Zoom is a daytime Zoom. Then we'll do a night, then a day, then a night, and then I think I'm away. I think we've got 4 more, and then I'm away. So yes, tomorrow's Zoom's 8:30 a.m. So I won't be back on socials. So I'm back on socials Thursday. I have put it on as 9:30 in the schedule. It might be a little bit earlier. I'll definitely be on at 9:30. So it'll either be 9 till 10 or it all depends on. Sometimes I take, it might be at 8:30. If I do a 8:30 one on Thursday, I'll do till 10. So I've said it'll be at 9:30 on Thursday. But basically what I'm saying now is sometimes I take Rachel to work and then I'll do a live before I go into the gym. So it could just be, I think I have put it just on TikTok. I have no idea. Anyway, I'll be back definitely on TikTok Thursday morning. I'll definitely be on at 9:30. I might be on before then, but I'll definitely be on at 9:30 for at least half an hour because I'll do till 10 if I do come on earlier. And I'll be back Thursday at around 4:30, 5-ish for another social media live. So we'll get 2 in on Thursday, 1 in on Friday. If you are on plan or part of my community, I'll see you in about half an hour, or I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. because we do our Everything Weight Loss Community Zoom session. Guys, if I don't see, if you just follow me on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, you're not part of my my private community, as it were. I will be back in 48 hours' time on Thursday. If you can't wait that long, come join the community. It's £5 for your first month using code WELCOME. And you can come and involved in the live that's coming up and the live tomorrow morning. If you feel you need more help than the community, the one-to-one plan summer deals are live. They're going to be live for about another 3-4 weeks till the end of August, till the kids go back to school. Half price sign up to my one-to-one plan, monthly payment scheme, about a third off, 20% off, but a third off compared to monthly for my yearly. You can sign up 1 year, 260 quid, one-off payment, full 12 months weight loss coaching. TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page. The first tab in my link tree is an inquiry form. Ping over an inquiry form. Hi, Neil. Seen you on TikTok. Please, can you send over some details of your plans, and I will send you all the details. There we go. That's it. Have a great Tuesday and Wednesday. If I don't see you, I'll see you Thursday morning. Community people, hopefully I'll see you in half an hour. TikTok and Facebook, YouTube. yeah, if you just follow me Facebook, YouTube, I'll be back Thursday morning. If you want to come and watch the next live in half an hour, or you want to come on the Zoom session tomorrow morning, you don't need to come on Zoom, by the way. You don't need to be on camera. You don't need to. I'll just waffle on. You can hide behind the camera. You can just use a chat box like we're doing live, but it's just for people in my community. You can come and ask me any direct questions about weight loss and come and get any help. Come get involved. If not, I'll see you Thursday morning. Have a great couple of days.